It's Dorleen. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to be working on a one-page layout today. This occasion is one that I have multiple photos for, but I'm only working on one layout today because I'm following a sketch from Scrapbooking with Anne Marie, and I'll have a link in all the information in the detail box, as well as a link to my blog, my Instagram account, whatever else I feel like you need. Before I turn the camera around so you can actually see my desk, I just wanted to pop in, show my face, say hi. So anyhow, we'll go to the layout, and if you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment. The set that I'm using for this layout is called The Story of Our Family by Lori Whitcock through Echo Park. And I had just a little bit of pieces left over. Like you can see here, there are some brads and a little bit of stickers and some chipboard stickers. There's also these pieces that are the cutouts, but also a plain or pattern piece of paper on the back. I'm going to be using these two different colored cardstock, which I thought coordinated well. And then I also grabbed this pad, and it's a completely different, it's from We Are Memory Keepers, but the colors just matched with it, which I thought was really nice. So I think that's one thing that I need to get in the habit of, because just because I only have a little bit of pieces left of a collection doesn't mean I don't have other coordinating supplies that will work. So that was a good find, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this down to 12 by 12, and then I'm going to gut it in the middle. And you can see here as I'm doing that, I usually try to do like 1.5 inches. Now, if I really would have thought about it, I should have measured it a little bit more, because if you notice that sketch I'm following, it's like a square inside a square inside a square, or I should say a matted square inside a matted square. And so I ended up having to use 2 pieces of solid cardstock to make mine. This one is 9.5 by 9.5 square, and then this page is just 9 by 9. And I'm trying to save as much as I can on that, because I do have other layouts or other photos to make more layouts. So I want things to be able to coordinate just a little bit. So again, I wish I would have thought more when I was gutting that bigger one. And I'm also really glad I did gut, because I do end up using some of those brads at the end, and which I was really surprised, because those are really thick brads that I thought, wow, those are too thick for scrapbooking. But there were some that were flat, and so, or more flat than the other, so I really like those. But I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this all together. I'm basically just centering everything. When you gut your page, you see how there's still a border around, so I have plenty of paper to, when I do adhere that polka dot paper, it still fits on there fine, and it does have a base. Now, the only time I do, or I recommend gutting paper, is if, first of all, that second piece of paper, so in this case that polka dot, if it's a really good weight, then it is nice to gut your paper, because they won't like see a like a bowing. So it fit really good, and it actually helped the weight of the layout at the end, because instead of having 4 thick pieces just layered up on each other, I only had really like 3. So that did help a little bit. But anyhow, back to the layout. So I again mentioned that this was my, or maybe I didn't, I don't know, but this was one of my uncle's 80th birthday parties. Now, it wasn't a family reunion, even though this paper pad kind of leans towards that. But a lot of our family did show up. Not all of it, because my mom is one of 12 siblings. There are 9, or at this time there were 9 still living, and only 5 of the siblings were there, and partial cousins, but there was a ton of us that were there. These pictures that I'm showing, one of them is of the first generation, which is my mom and her brothers and sister. And then the second one is all of the second generation. So all of my first cousins. There were third cousins and fourth cousins, but I did take pictures of that, but they're going to be in a different layout. So I'm just really trying to build on this left side, kind of a big, like a showcase or focus area. So on the sketch, it had like one big heart layered with a smaller heart on the bottom. I didn't want to do anything like that, so I used that 4x6 card. Together is the best place to be. And originally I kind of thought, I didn't know if I wanted the place to be on there. So, but I didn't want to cut it down either. So you're going to see when I start layering some of these pieces that I'm covering that last line. And then I realized, why don't I want it? So I kind of adjust. But this piece is from that We Are Memory Keepers pad. I really like the Polaroid look. And at first I'm just cutting them down to squares. And then I just use my scissors to trim them down. Again, I'm just playing. I don't really have an idea of what I'm doing. Those 2 4x6 photos are full of people that I want to keep. So that's why I moved them over, so they're just slightly over that middle square. Now the sketch shows the photos within this square, but there was no way that was going to happen, as well as having this big kind of cluster over there on the left. But I still think it worked out pretty well, because I'm not really hiding anything. I'm just really hiding more of the paper. I got the sketch from Scrapbooking the Day Away, and I'll have a link to that website. And basically it's a scrapbooking website, and I'm talking all things scrapbooking. So there's sketches, there's contests, there's challenges, there's just a community, there's a place to share your layouts, or if you have questions, you can definitely go there. But it's a really fun place, and Anne Marie is a person who heads it, who is like the nicest person. I've known her for years, but the funny thing is I've never met her, but I consider her a friend. One day I'll meet her, but and I'm sure if you are a scrapbooker and you do anything online, you have the exact same friends that you don't think you'll ever meet, but they're like really dear friends to you. But anyhow, I will have a link to her website, and there is 2 different types of memberships. One is a free one and the other one is paid. I don't remember what the paid amount is, but it's very affordable. So, and they'll have more tutorials and things like that on the paid side. So anyhow, check it out. Just follow that link. But I did decide to trim this one photo down just a little bit, so I had a little bit of wiggle room on those embellishments that I'm putting there. The party was in August. That's why I'm using that August calendar. But it's really more for, excuse me, the decoration versus the actual purpose of a calendar. And I do my journaling on there, so I use it as a journaling spot. But I love, love, love that little Polaroid there. I think it just works out fine. And again, this is a birthday party, although the embellishments or the design really doesn't show that. So this is where I I use some of these stickers to put that 80. I put 80th on there, and I'm going to just use, my fingers to pull off the numbers and also the letters, and I'm going to adjust it as needed because I decided to put the TH on there. At first I was just going to do an 80, but simple as that, because I didn't really burnish it down because I still wasn't sure on placement. But look at how cute that is. Super simple. I didn't do a lot of journaling on this page because, like I mentioned, I'm going to have multiple layouts because I took a ton of pictures. So I'm going to do some more journaling on one of the other layouts. And I'm back to these brads because I mentioned before I just didn't like the height of these brads. They just almost seem like you're definitely not going to use them in a scrapbooking layout. But I just keep thinking this page needed something else, and I was kind of determined to use what I had instead of really digging around. So I'm just fussing with it back and forth here and there, still not really sure. And I think I even lean towards, forget it. And then I see that flower. Now it really pretty much gets lost in that card, but that's what I like about it, because it's not overbearing. And then at that point I'm like, you know what? I like that there, but I can't just randomly have one brad. So I go back to that paper that had those word strips, and I'm going to cut out one of the arrows, and I'm just playing with this, and I even trim it down a little bit. You'll see in a minute that I put a brad in the middle of that. It's a really simple layout, but it has 2 beautiful pictures of 2 generations of the Martinez family, which is pretty awesome because we don't get together enough. And it seems like when we do, it's always for a sad reason. So it's beautiful that my uncle had this party, and so we were gathering for a happy occasion. And I really am thankful for that. You will notice that this layout is actually pretty simple. I don't usually do a lot of mixed media, extra kind of embellishments. I don't know if the right words are for that, and not that there's anything wrong with it. Believe me, I love looking at all those beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scrapbooking layouts. But for me, I just want to scrapbook my memory. So I'm really focusing on the photos. I always like to do just a little bit of journaling, and again, playing with my stuff. That's why I bought them. I love them. I want to use as much as I can without just too much work. Because you know what? These designers, they kind of know what they're doing. So they got all the things, and they know what coordinates, and it just kind of works every time. So if you want to scrapbook like I do, or hopefully I inspired you to do something similar, on your own layouts, I am happy to do so. If you have any questions or additional comments or any kind of comments, please leave them below. I do read them. I do respond. And again, this is just very simple, using kind of what I have within the kit that I was using. And I still have those chipboard stickers that I'm going to keep in my collection for a little bit anyways. I may end up giving these and saving them for like a trash to treasure pile, because I think I've really just kind of used all I can for this collection. If you aren't already, please hit that subscribe button, because I do post 2 videos a week. One is always scrapbooking. The other is whatever it is I'm creating in the command center, which is the name of my craft room and also my blog. Thanks for watching.